I'm Molly Topf, host of the Bedford Buzz, and today we're lucky enough to be here on the last day of finals for the 2025 school year, and Teacher of the Year, Candice DeAngelis, has taken some time out of her day to chat with us. We're very lucky to have you, Candice. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations on this huge award.
Thank you for having me, Molly.
Think back to when you found out you'd earned this honor. What came to mind?
So weirdly, that morning, I was frequently refreshing my email, awaiting the email that said, "We are sorry, you did not win." And I was teaching my IB Spanish 4 class, and then all of a sudden we started to hear the dismissals by level of the school, and all of my kids looked out at me and they were like, "Senora, today's your day." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's probably something else. And as I was walking down, everyone just started like cheering, and they were like, it's for you. And I was just shocked. I was nervous to actually walk into the gym. And then when I walked into the gym and I saw everyone in there with like the giant fat heads and all of that, I was just humbled and just so just taken back by how the community came together. And then when I walked up, I saw my husband, my children, and then my sister had come from New York. It was just such a crazy day.
There were a lot of teary eyes from your colleagues, from your teachers. And for me, when I saw your whole family there, I sort of had a moment, because teaching is a passion project. It's not something we leave at home at the end of the day. It's with us all the time. I bet having your family there was really important.
It truly was. And to know that my kids got to see everything, they hear me tell stories all of the time and all of the things that are happening in my life, but they never actually get to see what's actually happening. And for my parents too, they were absolutely adorable. And it was just a really amazing experience to be able to share that with them.
Why did you become a teacher in the first place? How many years have you been doing this gig?
So this is year 19 that I'm wrapping up right now. So it actually goes back to when I was in second grade. I had to do a presentation about this as part of the Teacher of the Year process. And I was thinking back, it was, what is your journey? Why did you become a teacher? And there is a picture that I drew when I was in second grade. On one side, I drew myself as a talk show host. And I remember flipping over the picture and my second grade teacher coming over to me and she goes, "Why are you restarting?" And I'm like, because I'm gonna have 2 jobs when I grow up, and I got to work and I drew myself as a teacher. So I kind of think back to that a lot, and I think about how I wanted to be a talk show host and I also wanted to be a teacher, and I had to find that commonality between the two of them. And it's really just bringing out the best in people. And that is my goal, and kind of my philosophy as a teacher is I want to bring out the best in each and every one of these students. And when it came down to it, I felt like my impact was going to be more with our youth than as a talk show host.
I think I could answer this question for you, but I want you to answer it.
Okay.
Why do you think you were chosen? There are so many fantastic, passionate teachers out there.
This is kind of the trickiest question for me. I think I was chosen for my energy, my creativity, and my positivity. I think when I am teaching in the classroom, again, like I just said, I try to bring out the best in each and every one of my students, and I try to remind them, you are smart, you are capable, and you can be successful, and I'm more of a coach to kind of get them along the way.
No doubt teaching's changed then, since
has.
you began. How have you changed in the profession in dealing with the changing world around you?
I often will look back, because as teachers, we have things from our first year teaching, and I look back and I say, wow, what was I even thinking with that assignment? Or this was way too easy for them. I have changed in really kind of the way that I approach, and I really think it happened when I became a mother. That I always got to know my students, but now I really try to make sure that I am able to fill their cups. I am able to make them individually learn who they are, what they love, and how they can be their most successful. So I really do believe that I've transitioned from just knowing the kids to really finding what makes these kids be the most successful.
I think any passionate teacher will agree that it's about the relationships, and you certainly walk that walk, and it's one of the many reasons why you're so well loved. What do you think students need most today? Is it that positivity from their teachers? What do today's students need from teachers?
I think they need the energy, the creativity, and the positivity, but I also think they need that face-to-face relationship, like you just said. They need to know that somebody is there who's looking out for them and for their academics. They also need to be able to be given opportunities to explore. I feel like we have become so digitized that they don't really know how to navigate that. However, when you walk into a classroom and then all of a sudden you're doing things back on paper again, and you're playing games, and you're able to like interact and have conversations with other people and other students, they need to be taught, and they need to have that modeled for them.
What advice would you give to a new teacher just starting out, new to the profession?
Ask for help. I am the type of person who likes to take everything on and figure it out myself. However, one of the things that I have learned over time is if you need help on an idea, or you need something to be revised and you're not quite sure if that's going to be the best way to teach a certain topic, ask your colleagues, because they are the other experts, and they are going to give you solid feedback, and they're going to be able to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of ways that they've done those things. And it's a really great reflection process.
This does make me think of your senoras. You're a famous crew
My ladies.
around Bedford High School. Tell me about them and how they've supported you.
I would not be the person I am without them.
Who are they?
Okay, so we have Melissa Sarsfield, we have Elizabeth Demores, we have Lindsay Close, Laura Chenette, and Katie Arrego.
Spanish teachers.
Spanish teachers, the senoras. We kind of travel as a pack wherever we go. Actually, the Department of Education and our governor and everyone else refers to them as like the Teacher of the Year posse. Whenever I have to RSVP to something, they're always like, "Are the senoras coming?" And I'm like, "Oh, claro que sí." Like, obviously they are. They help get me through any type of situation. They are some of the most creative and some of the most energetic people that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. It's almost like working with your best friends. It's working with your sisters, where we can bounce ideas off and say, "Hey, I don't know if that's the best idea," and we are here to grow together.
That is really lucky that you have
We
each
are
other.
so
Very
lucky.
unique. And I know you've taught at a few other schools, but tell me about teaching in Bedford in particular. Is this a community that you enjoy being in?
I love this community. I just remember my first year teaching here. People who I had worked with at other schools, or even just like my friends who are teachers, they're like, "Well, what's the difference? Like, you know, you go from school to school." And I said, I just remember looking at them being like, I honestly feel like I'm on the set of High School Musical every day. The spirit, the energy, the positivity, and I have never worked in a school where I feel like every single teacher puts 100% into everything they do. This would be the type of school that I would want all three of my children to attend, because I feel like no matter what class they're taking, they are going to get an absolutely incredible instructor who cares about them. This is just like such a great place.
I always think about all the extra things teachers do here, and we love it, but it makes it hard. We have our intercession, we have advisory, we have CFGs. I think all of these things are part of what makes Bedford so special.
Yeah, sure does.
So you've clearly made a difference in our community, to our teachers, to students, to everyone in our community. But your year's almost up. When you're done being Teacher of the Year for the 2025 school year, what's your legacy? What's next?
So I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. One of the biggest surprises through all of this process has been my awareness of policy and bills and laws that are going through. And I've actually really enjoyed learning all of this information and kind of following it through. One of the things that I do plan on doing is in my own town running for school board. We'll see how that goes. I also, the 2024 Teacher of the Year and I are in the process of putting together an educational podcast. And we shall see what comes after that.
That's amazing. What's one thing about teaching you wish our community might understand?
How much we love our students. They become kind of part of a small little family every single year. And that we are here to support them, and we are here to look out for them, and we just only want the very best, and we just kind of put our hearts into our profession.
Yeah. Are you taking the summer off, I hope?
So this summer, I have a couple of things going on. I will be hosting Camp Mom with my 3 kids. Next year, we will have a child at every school. My son will transition to high school. My middle daughter will transition to middle school. And the youngest will still stay in elementary school. So I will be taking time with them. But every state teacher of the year in the middle of July gets the opportunity to head to space camp. So in the middle of July, I will be headed to space camp, where I get to go through the process of zero gravity, the drop into the water where you got to swim to the boat. It is just so cool.
Where is that? Where is space
It's in
camp?
Alabama. So I'll fly down in the middle of July, and I'll spend the week there
That
with
is
all of the other
incredible.
state teachers. Yeah.
What other experiences have you had because of this award?
So back in February, we were hosted by, we had our introduction to everything, and we got to spend the day at Google, and we got to work with Google EDU, which was absolutely incredible. I've had opportunities to sit down and speak with our state board. I've had the chance to really get to know our governor and her and our first gentleman. And then I have to go through all of the clearance process. In September, the Blue Angels will be back for one of their first times. This was not on my bingo card, where I will be able to be considered their key influencer of New Hampshire and go on a Blue Angel flight, which is just so crazy.
That is amazing.
Yes. And then the New England Teachers of the Year will be headed to a Red Sox game to be honored. So that'll be all of us from New England. We'll all head down there in September, right before we all head to Washington, D.C. for a D.C. week.
That is so great. Well, honestly, this is an honor well deserved. You are loved by our community, by our students. Maybe end one piece of advice for teachers. You've sort of alluded to different things, but one piece of advice for teachers who are wanting to be effective in the classroom.
Get to know your students, build those relationships, because it's going to make for an absolutely incredible year where everyone's engaged and you will feel amazing at the end of the day.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for teaching at our school and also giving so much of yourself throughout this year. You brought some good press to Bedford, and we all know what a special place it is to be here, and we're glad you're a part of it.
Oh, thank you, Molly.
Thanks for your time.